Hello everyone. So today I'm going to talk you through a little bit about the Project 1 mini assignment research plans and questions assignment that is due May 12th. So in this mini assignment, the goal is to answer the following questions that will hopefully help you think about answering some of those descriptions or characteristics from the 6 categories of SWALE's discourse communities. And so this should hopefully help you think about what you already know, what you need to know, and what you need to gather from your primary research, meaning your interview, and your secondary research, meaning going to the Gale reference library or going to your reference guides and or going to various different kinds of additional websites or databases that have been listed out as sources for members of your discourse community. So, using Swales and his discussion of the 6 characteristics of an academic, oh my goodness, I can't speak today, I'm sorry, of an academic discourse community, you're going to answer the following questions and submit them for your research questions and ideas. So, can you tell me what broadly set upon common public goals your discourse community has? If you can't, then you're either going to have to should have found some of that from your interview or begin to research some of that by, say, going to the Gale Virtual Reference Library, where there's typically a nice overview of your profession, right? What types of mechanisms of intercommunication are used? Again, remember, this simply means how are people communicating their general knowledge, beliefs, and goals through writing in the academic discourse community? Do they primarily use research articles? Do they do conferences? Do they do assessment, reviews? What do they do? How do they use these types of communication that's published to provide information and feedback? So what kind of information are they providing? What kind of feedback are they providing? So again, in my field, the information that we try to communicate is this idea about best teaching practices, best research methodologies for assessment of student learning, best types of kind of like interventions or innovations for helping students learn and transfer knowledge. And then we provide feedback to each other through the types of publications that we do, through our assessment, through viewing other people's teaching practices and so forth. So what does your field do? What type of academic genres does your field typically use and possess? So again, in my field, it's usually we do research articles, books, book reviews, assessment reports, conference papers, conference proceedings, these kinds of things. What specific lexis, remember lexis is just a very fancy term for vocabulary, is used. And so in my field, like I said, we do a lot of things about scaffolding and proximal zone of learning or rhetorical genre theories or social action or teacher research, mixed methods. We have these very particular terms, lexis, that we use that our members of our field recognize and know and use, and other members of different discourse communities don't recognize. And then what kind of expertise is required, right? How much knowledge, um, how much information, specific content information do you need to know to be seen as an expert in your field? In my field, you have to get a PhD, right? You have to read around 500 texts of books and articles. You have to write a prospectus. You have to write a dissertation that's usually around 300 to 500 pages. You have to defend that. I'm still not an expert. I have to then publish, and then I have to be able to have that published, those publications be relevant and read by my community for me to be seen as an expert. That's when I'm an expert, is when I've published something important, right? So what level of expertise is required to be a relevant member of your discourse community? All right, 2, the types of major topics of conversation. So do you know anything about your field and the type of information and knowledge and research that's being published? If not, what then do you need to know? Where are you going to find that for your own research and for your interview? Is it going to come from your librarian? They might have a general sense as to some of the research ideas or topics out there. Your guidance counselor probably won't. They'll have more ideas about what can you do with your degree, what kind of courses do you need to take, these kinds of things. Can you start to develop a short list of the most important terms and acronyms and keywords that makes up the discipline? So you might have to go online, right? And look at some of the key types of terms or lexis that is used, because that's also going to help you think through or understand what common kinds of pieces of information or knowledge are used, published, communicated within the field. And then start to think about what kind of research, what kind of questions would you have? What would you maybe want to research when it comes to your academic discourse community? What would be interesting for you to maybe consider and look at for the rest of the semester? So this is going to be the 4 questions that you're going to respond to for the week 1 research plans and questions. You may not know all of these answers. You might have to look up some of these answers, or you might have begin to know that you're going to find some of these answers in your interview, but you need to let me know if that's the case. Otherwise, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me and I will get back to you as soon as possible.